What if you could remove every single self-limiting belief that you had? You would have everything that you wanted in life. The car, the money, the girls, the lifestyle, all of it would be yours. But the thing is, right now, you got these walls put up where all the potential is on this side of the wall, and you're here thinking that you can only go this far, when really there's so much out there for you to experience, but your mind is what's limiting you, holding you back from experiencing all that. I've removed self-limiting beliefs throughout many different phases of my life, but I recently just did a 5K mastermind in California. One of the things that we went over was removing self-limiting beliefs. And I'm gonna give you the exact blueprint on how you can do this for yourself. So I paid 5K for this. I'm gonna be giving this to you for free. So take out a pen and paper because I'm gonna be going through these steps and they're very important that you follow them from start to finish. So let's get started. What is the first step? You need to first identify any limiting beliefs that you have. And how do you do this? Well, anytime you think you can't do something, you're not able to, that's impossible. And let me give you an extreme example. So one way my mentor showed this to me was he asked me, "Hey Seb, can you fly?" I was like, "No, I can't fly. What the fuck are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, how did you get to my house?" And I was like, "Well, I flew here." And he was like, "So you can fly?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess I can." So a lot of the times there's gonna be beliefs that you think you can't do things, you're not able to, that's impossible. But you just have to look, are other people doing the things that you want? If so, it is physically possible. And if not, you can be the first person to do it. Look at Newton, look at Einstein, look at all these guys who broke through so many things that everyone thought was impossible. People who flew for the first time, people who did all these crazy things, just had that belief in themselves and their ability to make it happen. So that's the first thing, is you need to identify all the limiting beliefs that you have. Anytime you think to yourself, "Well, I can't do that," you need to write it down. So that's the first step, is to identify all the limiting beliefs. Anything that you ever think you can't do, just write it out. I want you to compile a list of all these things. Now the next thing you need to do is you need to flip it on its head. And you need to write out a statement that empowers you to be able to do that. So for example, let's just use that flying one. I can't fly, right? You can change it to I can fly. It's that simple. You just have to flip it on its head and make it an empowering belief. And now you have something that you can utilize, right? And then what's the next step of this? Well, you might be thinking, okay, well, I made a positive statement out of it. That doesn't really do much for me. So here's the real important one. And this is something I've learned between the mastermind, all these different books that I've read on self-development, on manifesting your life, all these things. The most important thing you need to realize is that it takes courage to make these things happen. So first you have the thought, right? Then you actually need to do the thing. So if you think, "Oh, I can't fly," and then you want to say, "Well, I can fly," the next thing you should do is hop on a plane and realize that you're able to fly. You just needed to use a plane in order to do so. Doesn't mean that your human body could fly, right? So the next step is gonna be actually doing those things and having courage, right? Where when I was a shy, introverted kid and I wanted to have girls and do all those things, the next step for me, once I said, "Oh, well, I can get girls," is go out and talk to those girls. You need to do it and have that courage to be that person. And then eventually that's just gonna become your identity, where it's like, "Oh, I can fly because I can get from here to California in 4 hours." Or I can talk to girls and I can date supermodels because I've done it before. I had the courage to go out and talk to girls, get rejected, and actually get some of them. So that's what it's all about, is having the courage to now enforce that belief. That's the most important thing. That statement right there is having the courage to enforce that new empowering belief. If you can do that one thing, if you can identify the beliefs and then have the courage, you flip it on its head, and then have the courage to actually go out and make that belief real, that is super powerful. Let me give you another example. So I had this limiting belief that I could not learn and execute something immediately. And the thing is, you can, right? Because I realized this because I was working on it. And then once you realize this, once you actually you're conscious about it, you realize that, okay, well, what am I actually able to learn and execute immediately? And you do things, and then you now have this belief where now you're so much more powerful as a being, where you're like, I can learn and execute immediately. What the fuck? I can do anything. So you need to start thinking this way, of removing every belief, going out there, having the courage to do things and prove to yourself that that belief is true. That's the most important part, is the actual actionable steps that come along with this. Because if you just flipped the beliefs and really didn't do anything with it, it wouldn't be too powerful. Maybe you'd be 1% better because you identified them and you flipped them. But once you actually go out there and enforce that belief, ingrain it in your mind, this is where the magic happens. And then there's one more step I can tell you as well. So that's gonna be affirming these things. So for example, you don't have to do this. There's many ways you can do this. You can use the 3-6-9 Nikola Tesla affirmation method, where you write it out 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times at night. And you can write a couple things that you did to enforce that belief every single day. Or you don't need to write it that many times. You can write it just 3 times and write it out, and then write what are some of the things you did that day to enforce it. It doesn't need to be so crazy. There's no exact method that works. The most important thing is action. So, you can read all the books in the world. Let's use this for an example. But if you don't ever take action on anything that you learned, you were just reading for entertainment. Versus the person who never read a book, but constantly took action on hearing an idea, having a friend tell them something, watching a YouTube video, and going out and taking action, and then enforcing those new beliefs all by himself without reading, without doing anything, just learning from experience, is gonna be way better off. So the point I'm trying to make is you need to actually have the courage to take action and do things with what you're learning and what the knowledge you're getting. This is gonna make you an extremely powerful being. If you can identify a limiting belief, flip it on its head, go out and have the courage to enforce that belief and make that your new identity and your new reality, ooh, bro, you're gonna be so powerful. Everything that you want in this life will be yours. So this is the full blueprint on how you can exactly remove self-limiting beliefs. If you have any questions, comment down below, ask them, I'll respond to you. So from here, you got 2 choices. You can continue with your life and you can have your self-limiting beliefs holding you back from living the life of your dreams. Or you can go out and you can actually take action on this. You can write out your limiting beliefs. You can flip them on their head. You can have courage and take action and make them your new identity. But the choice is ultimately yours. So I just armed you with so much value, so much knowledge. This took me years to accumulate, plus a 5K mastermind to really all piece together and realize some of the things I did from my past without actually consciously knowing that I did it. And I'm giving it to you all in a very digestible, easy to understand video. So what you do with this knowledge is now yours. But if I were you, I would go out there and capitalize on it, because this is extremely powerful and can completely change the entire scope of your life. And if this video provides you with any value, please please subscribe down below and check out my YouTube channel. On here, I'm gonna be teaching you how to life max and become the absolute best version of yourself so you can live the life of your dreams. If that sounds of interest, then give this channel a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.